am back with a bang. What is popping? How is everybody? Hope everybody's feeling great, feeling fantastic, feeling optimistic like I am. Hope you're feeling good. I'm back. Yeah, I've been gone for a bit, been gone for a month. I've been trying to stay away from all the negativity that's going on in the world and trying to just be positive because like if you're looking at all of the things that are going on in the world 24/7, like you are going to be negative, and that's kind of how they want our minds to be, and that's where they want us to be as people, just thinking negative and just being pessimistic about everything that's going on in the world. But you gotta also look at what's going on in the world because a lot of us like to be ignorant and not like to pay attention to what's going on in the world. And you have to kind of understand what's going on in the world because we are in like a crucial standpoint that we've ever been in like human history. So like you want to be informed, very informed, like because most people they choose to bury their head in the sand and act like nothing is going on and none of this stuff exists. But it's still gonna hurt you. It's gonna hurt your family. It's gonna hurt your loved ones. It's gonna hurt your children. It's gonna hurt your grandma, your granddad, your mum, your sister, your brother, your father. And if you choose to ignore it, you choose to be oblivious to everything that's going on in the world, you choose to bury your head in the sand, which the average person in our society likes to do, then you're gonna have to suffer from the consequences. So that's why I like to be informed, but I don't like to dwell on it. I don't like to bury my head inside of it all the time. I like to also take breaks away from it because it's definitely stressful when you don't want your mind to be stressed out 24/7 about all the negative things that are going on in the world. But let me get straight into it before I ramble on. So, we are literally basically going down. Every single day, the news is getting worse and worse and worse. I haven't actually seen any positive news since 2020. There's been no positive news. And yeah, we're seeing basically in America, the Silicon Valley Bank has basically failed, and we are in probably the deepest financial crisis. Not even probably, we are in the deepest financial crisis in human history, and there is absolutely no coming back from it whatsoever. And yeah, Silicon Valley Bank, if I'm correct, is like the 16th most powerful bank in the world, and now Silicon Valley Bank is down. This is now going to affect every single banking system on the planet. So if we look at Nigeria, for example, Nigeria's central bank made critical mistakes that doomed the country's currency to redesign. As you can see on the photo, this was on February the 22nd, 2023. You can see like loads of people are lining outside an ATM because now we're heading towards a cashless society, like I've been saying. And I know some of you are going to be like, T, it's Africa, Africa's third world. Yeah, so this is obviously Africa's third world. I understand that. But just because it's happening in Africa, don't think it's not going to happen over here because it's happening over here right now. Do you know what I mean? And what they're doing is that they are pushing us into a global digital currency where there's going to be like one global banking system. Do you know what I mean? And they're saying that the currency is going to be Bitcoin now. I'm not 100% too sure, but that's what they're saying. And like, what you've got to understand is, I don't know when, what time, what date, or I don't know. Like, I don't. I'm not in any of these financial banking meetings. I'm not like of any high power in this world. I don't go to these like meetings, to these big meetings where they're all suited and booted with all these financial officials and all these entrepreneurs and all these CEOs and all these chairmen of all these banking cartels. I don't go to any of these meetings, so I don't have any information of when this stuff is going to take place. These are all secret meetings. Do you know what I mean? So you're going to wake up one day to your bank account being at zero. This is what a lot of you have got to realize. And again, most of you are going to want to just ignore this, go back to your daily life, go back to your Instagrams, go back to your whatever. I get it. I get it because the truth is very painful, bruv. But you gotta understand, like, this is gonna affect you somewhat, some way, and like, we're seeing it globally. Like, this is a global thing now. This is happening globally. Like, you can see it. UK Treasury considers plan for digital pound. This was all the way in January. Do you know what I mean? So they're heading towards the global one world currency. Do you know what I mean? And to be honest, like, some of you are like, "Rah, isn't that a good thing?" Technically, no, it's not a good thing because it's a communist manifesto, meaning that it's control. That's the whole aim of all of this new world order. Is to control people, is to keep people, it's so they can control us 100%. And that's why you have the social credit system. Like in China at the moment, which is coming here very soon, they have a social credit system, and basically it's basically like your credit score, but this time it's on social media. It's on things like Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Like even me, I'm speaking truth right now. So basically, if you speak some form of truth, they will turn off your bank. So it's we're all going to be connected to a global currency system. They will turn off your bank. So because remember, cash ain't gonna exist. We're gonna be in a cashless society. Like I went to the bank the other day to take out cash. Yeah, they're looking at me like I'm some terrorist. Like they won't even allow you to take money out of your own bank now. That's like how serious it is. And if you do want to take money out of your bank, like they ask you like so many questions, like what are you doing with the money? Why do you need that much money? And it's just like, do you know what I mean? And I hear a lot of people saying like, take all your money out of the account. Like that don't mean nothing. Like the money's gonna be valueless. It's gonna be worthless. Like like you could take all the money out of your account. It's gonna be worthless. Like because we're going into a cashless society, and this is just how they've designed it, and they've got most people trapped into their system. So what will happen is that the banks will go to zero. I don't know 100%, like I said, but this is just what from what I'm guessing. Like all the banks are gonna go to zero. All that hard money that you've worked for, it's all gonna go to zero because they basically want a society where everybody there's no rich basically and there's no poor, and that's what comes into Revelations 13, 16, 18. If you read it, it also fools all people, great and small. This is the Bible, by the way. So this is the Bible verses that most people that say they're biblical they don't want to read. They don't want to actually give this any attention. Like these are the Bible verses that people just completely ignore, especially biblical people that say they're so-called biblical. They're like, yeah, I'm biblical this, I'm biblical that. But then when it comes to these type of verses, they don't want nothing to do with the Bible. Like they just turn a blind eye to it. But let me go in. It also fools all people, great and small, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hands or on their foreheads, so they could not buy or sell unless they had the mark, which is the name of the beast or the number of its name. This calls for wisdom. Let the person who has insight calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. That number is 666. So it forced all people, not black. It doesn't matter if you're black. It doesn't matter if you're white. All people, great and small, rich and poor, free and slave. So if you're a millionaire, like you're gonna have to start learning from poor people that actually have skills that understand how to grow food, how to grow crops. Like it doesn't matter if you're rich, it doesn't matter if you're poor, it doesn't matter if you're black, it don't matter if you're white. Like there's nothing to do with race in this. This is what a lot of people need to get. So rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hands and on their foreheads. Here you have Elon Musk with a brain chip from Neuralink, lines up clinical trials in humans. Do you know what I mean? The billionaire entrepreneur Elon Musk's brain chip startup is preparing to launch clinical trials in humans. Like, and they're pushing for this. They're pushing for this. All you have to do is go and read this. Like you can be like, oh, I'm a conspiracy theorist and whatnot. I've heard that. I've heard all that crap all before. And to be honest, bruv, it means nothing to me when you call me that. It literally means nothing to me. So what I'm trying to say is that they're pushing for a social credit score system. So we all know freedom of speech is gone. We all know if you speak truth on the internet, you get shadow banded. Like my channel is already shadow banded. Like, And obviously, loads of people that hear me speaking the truth, they're all unsubscribing because they don't want to hear this. Like, they'd rather just rock back into sleep, rockabye baby on the sheets. I don't even know how the song goes, but you get where I'm trying to go. So, with the social credit score system, if you basically speak out against governments, like which I'm doing at the moment, you will be cancelled. They will cancel you. That's why we have cancel culture on Instagram and things of that nature. So basically, they will shut down your banking system. You won't be able to function in their system. You won't be able to buy food in their system. You won't be able to pay your rent. You won't be able to drive your car. That's why they've got electric autonomous vehicles coming out so that they control your car. They can control your vehicle. They're saying by 2030 all cars are going to be electric, so they're getting rid of like gas completely, and that's why you have all the like they're basically trying to say like the cost of living. If you guys are aware of the cost of living, basically is where they're saying that they're using it as an excuse to say like all the things that's going on in the Ukraine and all the war is basically the reason why there's a cost of living. But this is their agenda. This is the agenda. This has been the agenda that's been in place from a long time now. Like a long time. Like I'm talking all the way back in the night, even before the founding fathers found America. Do you know what I mean? They had all this kind of stuff in plan because it's a communist manifesto and it's a way that they're going to. They just want complete control of people, and obviously most people choose to just sleep to this and not be aware of this, and that's what's painful the most. Like people just choose to turn a blind eye to this. So yeah, the social credit score system, um social media or whatnot. If you speak out on social media, if you say anything against the communist manifesto, if you say anything against the system, if you say anything against governments, if you speak out on anything to do with, I don't know, homosexuality, race, discrimination, the system, they will just literally, because it's all one global financial banking digital system, they can just shut you off out of the system completely. You starve, you die to death, or you starve to death. Sorry, you die to death. You starve to death, and that's the whole agenda. Do you know what I mean? And again, I try to keep people aware of this. I try to keep people awake. And you can see it's like kind of similar to Experian, if you guys are aware of Experian, where like obviously Experian just monitors your credit and to see if you know what I mean, you know what I'm trying to say. So you won't be able to buy houses. You won't be, in China's one is serious. Like you can't even get on a train. You can't get on a plane. Like you can't buy food. You can't access the internet. You won't be able to even pay your rent. You won't be able to buy a house. You won't be able to. This one's more deeper. You won't be able to do anything. Like I just said, you won't be able to. You won't be able to even function in the system at all. So, like, and I'm not here to just spread like doom and gloom because I know a lot of people just get scared of this stuff. Like, but you gotta wake up and stop being scared, bro. I don't understand what is so scary about this. It is scary to a degree. I get it, but if you've prepared and you're aware of what's going on, there's no need to be scared. So, as you can see, full list of full list of blank closures coming in 2023, including HSBC, Lloyd's, and Barclays. And this is the direction that they're heading in. They're not gonna explain this to you on TV. They're not gonna tell you this on TV. You have to go and do the independent research yourself and really look in to what's taking place. So you're seeing all these high street banks closing, and this is what I'm trying to explain to you. Like, why they're closing all these banks is because, and they're doing it on the low while no one's paying attention, so they can implement the global currency system. And again, yeah, they're saying it's Bitcoin. Who really knows? We don't know. We don't really know. Do you know what I mean? I'm trying to still figure out what is it? What's it gonna be? What's it gonna? So we don't really know what it's gonna be. Again, the Communist Manifesto. Do you know what I mean? The Communist Manifesto. It's real. It's like a totalitarian, if I'm saying it correctly, a totalitarian government where they want like everybody to just think the same, everybody to, and you're seeing it already. Most people just think the same nowadays. They're just robots. If you kind of like have a free thinking mindset and you kind of think for yourself, then like you lose all your friends. Everybody turns their back against you. Everybody thinks you're some psychopath, and everybody thinks you're crazy. And this is just the world we live in. But with me, I don't really care, bruv. Like I don't really give a damn what people kind of think of me. Yeah, like Silicon Valley Bank, man. Silicon Valley Bank inquires launched interbank collapse and UK arm. So it's having an effect on all the banks across the globe. And this is the agenda. The war is the agenda that's going on in Russia and the Ukraine. We're all now starting to see nations rising against nations, like the Bible speaks on as well. So we're seeing nations rise against nations. We're seeing all these kind of countries are now coming against each other and they're getting ready to go to war, and that's what's taking place. And here's another powerful verse that I like, Isaiah chapter 13 verse 14, which they don't teach you in church, which most of you biblical so-called warriors stay away from because you're scared of the truth. Facts, period. And you get uncomfortable when I speak the truth because you're not a real warrior of God. You're not a real warrior of Christ. You pretend to be a warrior of Christ. You pretend to be a warrior of the Lord, but really you're not. You don't practice what you preach, and like you just don't practice what you preach. So like a hunted gazelle, like a sheep without a shepherd. So like a sheep without a shepherd, they will return to their own people. They will flee to their native land, and that basically means like we all have to kind of come together. We all have to come together somehow. What way? We have to lose the selfishness. We have to lose that individualism mindset of that basically capitalistic mindset where it's just everybody for themselves. Like, and we have to start learning how to support each other. And that's why I like Eastern cultures, because when I've traveled a lot, if you look at all Eastern cultures, they work together as a community, whereas over in the West, like everybody's kind of just against each other. It's like competition. It's like, oh, I have to be richer than you, I have to outdo you career wise, I have to and I'm not saying that you shouldn't focus on your career and be successful. Like, by all means, that's what the goal is, and that's what the objective is in life, to sustain a good lifestyle. But at the same time, what we're heading into, unless you obviously submit and you get a chip in your head, like the Bible explains, to receive a mark on their right hands or in their foreheads, and he's already telling you he's going to put it in your forehead, and he's already had trials put it in humans' foreheads, so they're going to put it in your forehead. And that's, if you want to live, if you want to be in that system, that's up to you. That is up to you. You can be in that system and you can live in that system, being controlled, being a sheep, being told what to do, living in a smart 15-minute smart city. Like, forget all of that, bro. Be living in a 15-minute smart city, buying your own land. This is what you want to do. You want to buy your own land, like the Bible speaks on Isaiah 13:14, because Proverbs 22:7. Proverbs chapter 22:7. The rich rule over the poor, and the borrower is a slave to the lender. So you can be a slave. You can be a borrower, bro, and be a slave in their system where they're just gonna control you, and that's all you're gonna be. Or we can come together and work together as a community. You pick. And this is the thing: most people today in this Western culture, especially in the UK, bro, selfish, narcissistic, competitive. Which, there's nothing wrong with being competitive, like if it's healthy competitiveness, but selfish, narcissistic, me mentality. Everybody look at me. I'm like, the world revolves around me mentality, and there's no love for one another. There's so much jealousy, there's so much hatred, and there's so much envy, and that's why the Bible even says that the love will grow cold in the end times. Like, and we are in the end times, so you have to pick. You either be a slave into the new matrix that they're creating to keep you as a slave and keep you as cattle and to keep you as sheep, or you find like-minded people to build with, because there's still hope. If you can find like-minded people to build with and to build a community with, you're good. Which is, if you live in a city, you ain't gonna find people like that, because people in the city were all basically conditioned to just believe our whole lives that we're supposed to be governed by people that do not even have our own interests. So, like, that's all I basically wanted to kind of get at. Hopefully, we can take away and learn something from this. Hopefully, you can pass this to your children. Hopefully, you can pass this to your mum, your dad, your sister, your brother, your dog, your cat, your pet fish, your hamster, your rabbit. And yeah, we can learn something from this, take something away from this, and implement these things that I've just discussed into your lifestyle. And I hope everybody has an amazing day. I hope you look after yourselves. I hope you stay blessed. And I love every single one of you from the bottom of my heart. God bless y'all all.